The federal budget and what it means for you. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. This is a budget aimed squarely at the middle class. It's all about tax cuts for families, tax cuts for seniors, tax cuts for small businesses, and it's all done against the backdrop of putting the federal budget back into balance. The federal government estimates that they will have moved from a fiscal deficit of $5.2 billion in the 2013-2014 fiscal year to a $4.8 billion surplus by the 2019-2020 fiscal year, all done while putting more money in your pocket.
We understand that raising a family can be expensive, and we believe the decisions about how that money should be spent are best made at home by mom and dad, not by bureaucrats in Ottawa.
As already announced, the family tax cuts will kick in this year. We've got income splitting for families with children under 18 at home. You've got the increase in the universal childcare benefit, the increase in what families can charge for or deduct from their taxes for their daycare expenses. How does this break down in real terms for you? Well, families with children under 18 at home will be able to transfer income from the higher earning spouse to the lower earning spouse. The universal child care benefit extends to children up to the age of 18. That means a $60 per month payment per child. The amount a family can claim for child care paid for at a daycare center increases by $1,000. In addition, the amount that parents are expected to pay for their own child's post-secondary education will change. Now, the exact amount will vary depending on where you live and your income, but let's say you will not have to pay quite as much. Then there's the tax-free savings accounts. You can double your contribution up to $10,000 a year, and the small business tax rate will lower from 11% to 9% by 2019. A proof that this is a political document can be found in the fact that the government arrives at their small surplus this year of $1.4 billion through a few different measures. They're selling off their shares in GM. They are taking money out of the contingency fund. They are taking money out of the EI fund. All of these different measures together give them the small surplus. But that is a bit of inside baseball when you compare it against the tax cuts being offered to families. You can expect the opposition parties to try and make hay off of this, but that's not going to take hold against a bevy of tax cuts. Now, according to the government, examples published in the budget, a typical two-earner family with two kids, one spouse, who they call Henry, earning $84,000 a year, while Kathy earns $36,000 a year, well, they're going to see benefits of up to $6,000 per year by 2015 as a result of all their different tax measures. This means that they'll pay $3,293 less in income tax, $1,018 less in GST, and will gain $2,329 in child care benefits. Now, economist Ian Lee from Carleton University's Sprott School of Business says this budget is definitely political. He says it's aimed at the conservative base, but the conservative base in his eyes is not who their critics claim it is. It's squarely the middle class.
Families of modest incomes with children living at home in the burbs. In other words, to put it in the language of demography and statistics and so forth, it's the lower middle class and the middle. 5 quintiles, the top quintile are the rich, the bottom quintile are the poor, and then you got the three in between. Lower middle, middle, upper middle. The lower middle and the middle, those are the families that the Conservatives are appealing to in this budget.
Now, with all these goodies, far too many to mention, it's going to be hard to campaign, as I said. I mean, I haven't even talked about the benefits for seniors. There's the reduction in the minimums that you have to withdraw from your registered retirement income fund. There's the home accessibility tax credit to make your home more accessible so that people can stay in their own homes longer. So what will the opposition take on the government on? Well, it could be the fact of how they arrive at their surplus, rating this, rating that, but that won't go against a bunch of jingle in your pocket or more digits in your online banking account. So what will it be? Well, I think it's going to be on the issue of how much money they're spending. Stimulus in infrastructure, as Justin Trudeau's already forecast in his economic plan. Well, David McDonald is chief economist with the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, and he says that's his problem with this budget.
big issue here is that this is not a budget that's devoted to job creation or economic growth. It's a budget that's devoted to creating a surplus at all costs. And so there is new infrastructure money here, but it's put off several years into the future. And so in 2020, there's going to be a lot of spending on infrastructure. But we don't need that spending in 2020. We need that spending today when we see the collapse of corporate investment in the oil sands. And so I think the major criticism of this budget is that it's not going to provide job growth and economic growth when we need it in a year where we're going to see slower economic growth.
So there you have it, the election laid out already, and we don't vote until October. This is going to be a long fight. The NDP's put out a lot of proposals. The Conservatives just released theirs. The Liberals still a little light on details, but all we know is that they're going to spend more. Will their promises of spending more go up against and play well against more jingle in your pocket? I don't know, but I do know that this budget does put more money in the pockets of the majority of Canadian families that you can take to the bank.